Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, Bitcoin, and majority of the overall market. So with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night, or if you guys are out there in the world. So the overall market has been ranging for quite some time now since the halving happened. And the overall sentiment around this space has almost changed in an instant. And it's funny because you would think that right now Bitcoin was trading at over $100,000, or at least yesterday it seemed like that, right? Let's talk about that. Let's address it. Let's first look at the overall market. So currently speaking, $2.39 trillion for the global crypto market cap. Bitcoin, like I said, ranging at resistance. Majority of the space is still ranging. I would ultimately call this the calm before the storm. Now, does that storm have to be bad? Not necessarily. I've talked about this in the past. The storm could mean a bullish storm or a bearish storm. Now, we are going to address a few things around why I think we should be prepared for something that could very well happen. But also, I will give you a little bit of an insight on why it doesn't necessarily need to happen. So let's talk about the 24-hour gainers. So there still is a lot of money behind meme coins, but there is some other great altcoins that are pumping today, like HBAR, for an example. And in fact, I did post a full update in the Patreon group last night on both Render, HBAR, Casper, XRP. There was so many updates that got pushed yesterday in the Patreon group, and it was mainly because of what we were really kind of looking at when it comes to altcoins. Even if we go over here to the top gainers on the top 500 in the last 24 hours, there is a lot of movement around this space currently. And there's some great ones that I would ultimately call out here, like for an example, Velo or Velo. It's been doing a great move in the market. Everyone has been talking about it in the comments. I know that you guys probably want me to do a video on it. I might be doing a video on it very soon. I will have to see how time goes, because right now I am crunched between crypto, my design agency, and also work outside of both of them. But regardless, there has been a lot of traction around the AI sector still, because that is a red hot narrative. But also, even if we look at the all market in terms of every single coin in the space, we could still see that meme coins are the big hit continuously. And it's funny because meme coins are simply just liquidity grabs. That's really all it is, right? They launch them, everyone jumps in, all of a sudden the liquidity gets wiped and it rugs. I don't really like to mention meme coins as like top movers, but that's what has been moving for the last couple weeks. But if we look at the top 500, there is some legitimate projects moving right now, which is a very good sign. I've been mentioning, though, the reason why a lot of these altcoins that we are looking at in this space, you shouldn't be getting upset about them not moving. It's because majority of what is moving out there is illiquid meme coins. But we are now starting to see some movement. Nothing too crazy, but if we look at the last 7 days, there has been some nice gains across the board for some legitimate utility focused projects, which is a good sign. Now, like I was saying, sentiment has changed. If we look at the fear and greed index, guys, we're at 62 right now. We're back into greed. It hasn't even been 48 hours. Well, I think now technically it's been 48 hours after we had that significant pullback. It's almost as if everything changed overnight. Even over here, we're at 72. We're now in the greed. We haven't really hit any fear levels at all. Now, does that mean that we have to? Not necessarily. I've always said that the fear and greed index is not something that we have to take into, 100% certainty of, all right, we're in greed, we have to pull back. But what I did say is I said, if you take a look at the timeline today, you'd think that we are trading at $100,000 for Bitcoin. 48 hours ago, it was like we were trading at 15K. The sentiment continues to change rapidly. And this is simply just psychology on the red and the green days. Now, if we look at the total three, which is altcoins, I have been noticing something very interesting here. And do you guys see it? Look at this. That's the support zone. And I have this, kind of faded out a little bit, but look at the levels that we are ranging on here as support. Also, on the weekly, we tapped the 20 weekly EMA. Today is the weekly candle close. So like I said, it is the calm before the storm. The weekly candle close is here. It's pretty much happening in the next couple hours or so. And as we really look at the total 3 currently, which is the altcoin market, it looks very good. We've had 2 significant wicks here. Now, is a new trend forming? Not necessarily. We don't have to, see a new trend form at all. We're still looking pretty good on this one. The candle closes, though, are something that I've been watching for. Now, I told you guys what I'm expecting, right? I'm expecting a nice wick down here. We already got a deep enough wick on this. So now we could have a move to the upside up here. Then from there, we range a little bit more. We could either come back down and retest this support zone, or we could actually wick down to the trend line. We'll probably continue ranging here until Bitcoin figures out what it wants to do. Now, does it have to take this long? Absolutely not. I've always said that we could have, something where we kind of just range here and then we go. We don't have to, have this up, down, and then go. No, we could go at any point in time. But I have been watching this chart closely. The MACD, it's starting to weaken a little bit while we are still in overbought territories on the RSI. So I am watching for a little bit more of a correction on the altcoin market. As we look at the altcoin market, one thing that I've been noticing is Bitcoin dominance. We are losing the 55.25% level, which is significant resistance that has been since then turned into support. Now, is this bearish right now? Not exactly, because we're not at the weekly candle close yet. The weekly candle close will tell us everything that we need to know on Bitcoin dominance, because if we are going to lose this, then we might start something where we backtest this trend line, we have a nice impulsive move back to 55.25, and then we just continue going down from there. And during this time, very similar back to 2021, we'll start this major downtrend from the resistance level, and this will be our alt season. Now, does that have to happen right now? Not exactly, but it does look as though, currently speaking, Bitcoin dominance is losing that first significant resistance level that was support for a little bit of time there. But the thing that I'm really looking at here is, one, the RSI is about to have a nice bounce off of the EMA. And also the MACD is still pretty strong, which means currently, yeah, this might be selling off a little bit, but I do think that this is about to have a nice weekly candle close above support and probably continue back up to this 58 to 60% level before we have a significant sell-off. But that's when alt season actually happens, when we have that sell-off on Bitcoin dominance. Now, at the same exact time, we are still watching altcoins, because as we look at XRP dominance, while we are starting to see a little bit of a weakening sign on the Bitcoin dominance chart, some altcoins, and specifically XRP, by the way, this is what's very interesting about this. One, let me just show you guys. So I'm going to circle down here, the MACD. It is starting to flip bullish, right? It's starting to turn over to a bullish point, while look at the cross almost happening down here. You guys see it? We are about to get a cross. The last time that we've had a cross down in this significant... well, I shouldn't even say it because back here was a little bit deeper, but we are still very close to it. The last time that we had a significant cross like this was back in March of 2021. Guys, that was when XRP went crazy. It went to almost $2. And I know that to some people that might not seem like crazy, but if you go back to the 2020 lows, it was about roughly 11 cents. It went from 11 cents to about almost $2. That is a very significant move in the market for roughly, a year. So as we really look at this, I do think that the MACD is about to cross over into bullish territory. RSI, guys, check out the RSI. We are at the most oversold level still. We just had a double tap. So just to kind of show you this, we had a double tap down here. This is the most oversold that XRP has been on the RSI since going all the way back to July 2019. And typically down here is when we start to see a nice impulsive move off of the lows. Back here, we did continue to sell off a little bit and then have that big move to the upside. But this is dominance. Remember that this is market dominance. So if XRP looks like this on the XRP dominance chart, it means that we are about to, one, get across here, right? We're about to get across on the RSI with the MACD, or sorry, with the moving average. And if we look at this, right, we had the same exact thing happen back in September of 2019. We had the same thing happen back here in July of 2020. And it happened multiple times here. But the significance of this time is, one, the MACD is looking as though it is ready to flip at the same exact time that the RSI is in the most oversold territory since going all the way back to July of 2019. And this is the dominance chart, while Bitcoin dominance is weakening. So does that mean that XRP is about to, wake up in a big way? It could be. It could be, right? The keyword there is could. Doesn't have to, but it could be. Over here, as we look at the XRP Bitcoin pair, again, look at the RSI. Most oversold territory since going all the way back to August, September, July, June, and even May of 2019. Even if we go back to 2017, 2018, it's still more oversold now than ever before, which is crazy to me. But that's why when we look at this, right, and we still look at that MACD, it's very deep down there, and it's starting to turn. Look at what I had on this chart. We are now ranging. We are now in the range. Same even with XRP dominance. We could still range down here. Doesn't mean that we have to go crazy right now or tomorrow or next week, but we are now ranging. And even as we look at the XRP USD pair on the weekly candle close, I have this line here at about 50 cents. So far, this level has held for support. Very similar to what we did back in January, right before we ran up to 75 cents. And I talked to you guys a little bit about this. Everyone hates XRP right now. And, it is for, good measure. XRP has been, underperforming. But we are currently on the weekly at the 200 weekly EMA. It looks as though it is ready to wake up. We still need to cross that level. As we look at the MACD, it's still rough. And the RSI is still kind of neutral right now. So would you be surprised if we rejected from the 200 EMA, had a back test of this, bottom trend line, and then we go? It wouldn't surprise me, but for some people that might surprise them. But it would give us one last buying opportunity down here below 50 cents. And if you can get two for $1, hey, that's a steal for my opinion, right? But I'm watching to see if we get the big cross up here. Because if we get the cross above 53 cents, I do think that we will start to kind of range a little bit up here, probably reject around like 58 cents, come back down into this range, and then we go. But I wouldn't be surprised if we either, one, range between, support and resistance before the move, or we possibly have a back test of this bottom trend line, range, and then go. I know that there's multiple scenarios here. I know that it's certain on what's going to happen next, but that's why we wait patiently and we don't make impulsive decisions. But when we look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, this is surely going to reject at some point in time up here. I'm watching it closely. I'm paying attention more so to the factors that will determine alt season beginning outside of just the USD pair. I don't care about, XRP USD or HBAR USD. I don't care about any of those charts because the only things that really kind of matter right now is Bitcoin dominance with XRP dominance and XRP Bitcoin pairs, and also the total three, because these are what is telling us that alts are about to go crazy or not. But the reason why I'm, saying that XRP could still pull back down is because when we look at the total three, it's still overbought up here, right, in the RSI level. And then also we are about to get a significant close up or a cross up here in terms of the MACD at the same exact time that it looks ready to turn red. So when we look at this, we could still see something back here. Like here you have a perfect example. November of 2021, we had the cross, right? We had the cross and then it turned red. And you could see the significant sell-off that happened. Now, do I think that we're topped out and that we're going to, go into a bear market like we did back there? No, but I do think that we need to be cautious a little bit here as everyone is starting to flip bullish again, and the market still hasn't really recovered fully. But one thing that we have been watching for, and big shout out to Credible Crypto for this, is the spot premium in terms of Bitcoin trading with the spot premium. We have just a reminder, Bitcoin is still trading with a consistent spot premium. Over here we have, of all the data and metrics I keep a close eye out on, a spot premium has probably been the most reliable to identify local bottoms over the last few months. It hasn't missed. As of yesterday, Bitcoin is once again trading with a spot premium. Now, this is what Bitcoin looks like on his chart at that time. This was April 14th. This is the current Bitcoin chart. Now, we already had the, significant taps of this bottom, level. Again, we pretty much had like a double bottom here since going all the way back to March 4th, the week of. This is currently on the weekly. Now, the big problem here is, again, we are in overbought territory on RSI. Is RSI a big factor in terms of it's 100% certain that we have to pull back? No, we saw this in the beginning of 2023 with Solana and many altcoins. When they start to go crazy, they were in oversold or overbought territory. Now, they did pull back, but even if we go all the way back here into November of 2020, look at the RSI. Overbought, all the way up until January of 2021. Then we had a significant pullback, and it continued a little bit. But for the most part, RSI cooled off while we continued going up. Now, this is technically bearish divergence because, it's, price is going up, RSI is going down. Technically, you want to have RSI going up with price going up. But I'm watching this closely to see what's going to happen from here because, again, MACD starting to, flip again while we are at significant high levels on the moving averages here. Again, back here, you had the same exact thing happening where, we were pretty much at the same exact levels before a significant pullback already happened. Now, we already got a pullback. Does that mean that we have to get another one? Not exactly. Again, the spot premium is telling us that we don't necessarily need to go down to this next demand zone or anything like that. Even over here, right? This is the path that I had on the chart for a little bit of time here, where we, go up here to about roughly 70K or so, then sell off back down to this demand zone, and then we go. I don't think that we're going to see something as deep as that. In fact, we actually don't even need to go that deep. Ultimately, what we could see is something where we go up to around the 70K range, we come back down, make a higher low, and then we go. We could see something like that. Now, is that demand zone a possibility? 100% it is. But so far, we actually have a double bottom here on Bitcoin. It looks very good. We still need to clear 74K. Guys, this $73,770 level, that is the big area in which we really need to watch Bitcoin. Because that's the last level that we really need to clear for us to have a confirmed bottom in, and we won't have that significant pullback that I was mentioning. We will actually go from 74K to 80K to possibly even $100,000 pretty quick. On the daily, by the way, you could see that the MACD is actually turning almost green here while we are getting across on the RSI, and the RSI is actually pretty neutral right now. So, again, this could help us move up a little bit, but the weekly candle close right now is still pretty rough. We are still closing below $6,000, which to some people that is a big resistance zone. Me personally, anything below 67K, I'm really not that bullish on Bitcoin. We need to flip the 67K level. And even then, we still have a lot of work to do before the next big move happens. So to me personally, when I look at Bitcoin right now, we are going to get a pullback somewhere up here within that 70K range. Right now, we are still fighting the EMAs, and we're actually fighting resistance at about roughly 65.7K. It's the same resistance level that we're fighting back on the day of April 14th and even the 15th before we actually had that major sell-off. Overall, the big thing that I'm watching for is us to actually regain a trend here. Currently, we are still making, and this is something that I always watch for. We have this, high back here. We have a, lower high over here, followed by another lower high, technically right around this range. So we need to create a higher high on this chart and a higher low in order for Bitcoin to remain very bullish. Right now, I do think that we need to be cautious. I think that we do need to be cautious, but alt season still hasn't started. We're still waiting on alt season. So if you are still holding altcoins and you're still watching altcoins, and maybe you're even getting a little bit more impatient on your altcoins, I want you all to understand that now is not the time to be impatient. Now is not the time to get frustrated. Now is the time to just sit back, relax, maybe take some time away from the charts, right? Take a little bit of a break. But in my opinion, as we really look at this space right now, I wouldn't write off the idea of having a little bit of a liquidity wipe, right? We sweep the floor, AKA we come back down into this demand zone. Maybe even we tap 60K one more time before we go, right? It would make sense if we kind of range down here a little bit. And then we, kind of had that big move to the upside. But we could still see something where we have this much deeper correction, or we have a nice test of the 70K region. And then we have a back test of a higher low, right? Because right now we're still making, realistically speaking, this was a higher low from going back to March 5th, but not that significant of a higher low. What I really want to see is something like this, where we have this low back here, followed by a higher low, followed by another higher low. The problem here is that we still failed to create a higher high, which is why we actually reject it so heavily. So right now, big thing to watch for is one, Bitcoin to break over 74K, which is the big one. If we actually break over 74K, then we avoid that big wipeout, right? Or we get back up into the 70K region and we be very cautious, because that is where we would have the major pullback if we are going to get one. So in my opinion, up here, in terms of this region, this is where you need to be very cautious, because we don't have to go this low. Like I said, we don't have to go that significant or that low significantly. We could simply have something like this, right? Where we have, anywhere between like 60K to, roughly 64K is totally fine. And then we go. But that demand zone down here is still a possibility. I always say that. So to really kind of summarize things, right now, yes, sentiment is changing very quick. Changed almost overnight. And it typically happens like this right after the halving. But remember, typically after the halving, we do range, or we even have a pullback before the big move to the upside. It's healthy. It really is healthy. It's to shake people out right before the big move. And also, as we look at the altcoin market, it's still ranging, right? It's still between that overall, it's in this range where it's an uptrend, right? We're still in the uptrend, and we have been in the uptrend since going back to October of 2023, just recently, and we're just waiting for this to break out. But that won't break out until this breaks down, which is Bitcoin dominance. And the big two things to really watch for: don't even really look at the USD pair all that much, because it doesn't mean too much currently, right? The big thing is XRP Bitcoin and XRP dominance. These are the two charts that you really need to watch for, because this will tell you everything that you need to know on the XRP USD pair if we are going to have a bullish spring to the upside or not. Outside of that, the weekly candle close is today. I do think that we're kind of in the calm before the storm. If we are going to have, a major move on Bitcoin, it will happen into the close. So we're definitely going to be a little bit more patient as the day goes on. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if there's more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.